Hello and good morning, friends. Welcome to the CEC EduSet live lecture. Dear friends, we would like to tell you all that today we would be conducting a session on one of the most important subjects, I would say. We would be talking on research methodology. This is the introductory lecture, and we believe that with the help of this lecture, you will be able to understand what research is and how research is done. And for this discussion, we have with us in our studios Dr. R.K. Sharma. Dr. R.K. Sharma is a professor of finance and research. He is from Bharati Vidyapeeth University, Delhi campus. He is regularly conducting a faculty development program on financial econometries. So let's welcome our guest, Dr. R.K. Sharma, and let's try to understand what research methodology is. Hello, sir. Welcome to today's lecture.
Thank you. Very good morning, dear learners. I will be talking about today one of the topic words which is being discussed in the industry as well as in the academia at length. The topic is the research methodology. The research methodology has been part and parcel of life in our academic domain with the business education as well as the commerce education in the social sciences. But since after 2001 and predominantly in the entering after the 21st century, the research work in the university and the institutions and the premier colleges, it has been primarily focused, and a lot of emphasis has been laid down on the research work done by the faculty as well as the students in the various management programs, commerce programs, and the different streams of the social sciences. The research methodology, which the topic I have chosen, is will start from the word what is research. If the first thing which strikes to anybody's mind that what is research. So research can be defined as it is a systematic inquiry. Systematic inquiry here in the sense that whatever the procedures will be followed, it would be followed in a particular manner, so that we can reach to a desired conclusion or a desired outcome or a result, so that the results can be useful for the researcher as well as the desired party or the party for or the audience or the industry or for the particular problem which it has been designed so that it can be used. So when we say what is research, so research means finding answers to the questions. So answers to the questions here, the questions may be the problems which we encounter in the day-to-day life, and we find that these problems may be having a solutions or sometimes may not be having solutions. But if we try to find out the solution of the problems, the solution of these problems in a systematic way, and then these solutions and these problems which we encounter in day-to-day life, and with the help of the research, the solutions which we desire or which we plan for them may be the useful one, and maybe finding a solution for the problem can be used by the industry people at large, and then finally it can be a very useful idea at the end of the day. It could be, the research could be defined also as a systematic research for truth. As I said, the research means the finding the solution to the problem, and this systematic search for truth means that we are finding the solution with the help of the research in a desired manner, in a way that can be useful, means that can provide the solution to the problem. Then through research, new and original informations, ideas about the world we live in are obtained. So we can find out the research has a very, large domain where we can talk about the problems which are being faced by with the people, with a certain group of the society, with the certain industry people, or maybe any community, and we live in. The research is a search for knowledge. As we said, that the research word itself means re and search. Means we are researching it, means we are again searching some knowledge which has been already existing, but over the period of time within the changing environment, that the knowledge is been now questionable. So the researcher can again reaffirm the knowledge available, that whether it is existing in the changing environment or there is need to be some changes are to be done. The research is defined as a scientific and systematic search for information on a specific topic. So research, as we have already discussed, that it is a scientific and systematic search for information on a specific topic. So the topic of maybe any interest, maybe the marketing area, maybe the financial domain, maybe the HR domain, maybe the any other topic, maybe relating to the largely we are discussing in the business research, we are talking in the social sciences. The research may be conducted in the medical science also, but here we will be focusing largely with the business research only, since our topic is relating with the business research only. So research, as it is precisely can be said that it is scientific and systematic search for the information of a specific topic or a problem. The research can be started with the help of the basic idea which be formed up at the ground level, and then with the help of the advancement of the technology, it can be applied in any given situation, and over the period of time, this utility of these applications, and we can improve and enhance the quality of life. So the research is a process wherein we start from the beginning and goes up to the end of the finding the solution of the problem. This is what during this process we need to do the funding for finding the basic research to the quality, improving the quality of life. So this is what we need to have the curiosity about doing the research, and in order to find the solution to a problem, we need to fund this process, and in order to find out the solution of the problem. Which of these can be classified as research? Because as we keep talking about the research and research, so many people may be able to understand or not, but for a layman, like if we take these examples, like one of the Samvad prepared a paper on computer usage in secondary schools after receiving literature on the subject available in his university library. This is one of the problem. The second one is the Manoj says that he has researched and completed a document which gives information about the age of his students, their results, their parents, income, distance of their schools from the district office, etc. The third situation may be like this. Kim participated in a workshop on curriculum development and prepared what he calls a report on the curriculum for engineers. So my dear learners, these three situations which is given here, you can just simply call them, if you find collect this data and this information, will you call it the research? I think not. None of the above examples can be classified under the name research, because these are the mere informations which can be collected at any point of time and may be available with destination or the other destination. Now let us take some other examples. Consider the following case, which is an example of research. A general manager of a car producing company was concerned with the complaints received from the car users that car they produce have some problems with sound at the dashboard and the rear passenger seat after few thousand kilometers of driving. So this is one of the problem. He, in the pursuit of that, what he did, he obtained information from the company workers to identify the various factors influencing the problems, and then further he then formulated the problem and generated gases. So this in the research we call it the hypothesis. Hypothesis is a statement, or it is a conjecture or a predicted statement. So he constructed a checklist and obtained the requisite informations from the respective or representative sample of cars, and he analyzed those information, means that collected data, and interpreted these results in the light of his hypothesis and reached conclusions. So can we call it the research? Is it a systematic and scientific one? Absolutely yes. This manner, when we conduct the research or the work which has been done, we call it it is a systematic and scientific one which follow a particular procedures, and the procedures which we are talking about can be called as pure research. What is research? As we have discussed, can be called as systematic because it follows certain steps in a logical order, and these steps are like this. First of all, when we start any research work, understanding the nature of the problem is to be studied and identifying the related area of knowledge. This has become so essential and primitive at the first stage that without understanding the problem, what the problem is prevailing, if we start doing some further work, it will be a futile exercise. So in order to start the research in the beginning, we need to understand the problem at the first. Then the second, when we proceed further in the domain of research, after understanding the problem, we need to then do the review of literature. Review of literature means here that whatever the information is already available on the land through the various sources of information, like the internet or the printed one or the websites or any other source of informations, we need to go through thoroughly those informations in order to understand our given problem at hand. So review of literature is a very essential exercise, and this is to be done precisely in order to understand our problem better, or in order to find out the various solutions which has been provided on the same problem across the country or across the world, so that whatever the solutions we are providing to the problem may be the perfect one and would be the innovative one. So review of literature to understand how others have approached to dealt with the problem. So through that, we need to understand that the various people, when they encounter this kind of problem in one part of the country or the other part of the country, or in the one country or the same kind of problem in the other world, then how they encountered it, how they could find the solution of this problem, that we need to understand. Then draw a roadmap of research methodology. Here, when we understand the problem and through the review of literature we understand better, and we find that these are the gaps which has been emerged out of our study and the solutions provided on the same problem by the various researchers in one part of the country or other parts of the country and any other part of the world which has been studied well. Now here you need to draft these broad guidelines in order to complete your research. Review of literature to understand how others have approached and dealt the same problem. This, as we discussed, that we have to line up all the issues which has been dealt with by the various researchers, so that we can understand that the solution which we are going to provide the same problem is already been provided by someone, and then it has been successful one or not one, that we have to see it. So drawing the roadmap for research methodology is a primitive one, and this is what we call it the research design also sometimes. It is the process that how we will proceed with our research work in a scientific and systematic manner. So during this drawing this research methodology roadmap, first we will draw the objective of the studies. Then objective of the studies, with the help of the objective of the studies, after that we will design the research design, and in the research designs we will develop the hypothesis for the given objective, and then what will be the sample size, what will be the data collection methodology, what will be the source of data, what statistical tools and techniques will be used in order to find out the scientific and systematic result of the study. So this is what the roadmap of research methodology I am going to discuss this methodology at length in the coming paragraphs. So, collecting data in an organized and controlled manner so as to arrive at the valid decisions. Here, we have to narrow down our problems, because when we talk about any problem, say when we talk about the problem of any situational, so we have to particularly narrow down that this problem will be discussed about this particular industry. In industry also, when we talk about that particular company, or in the company also when we say that the company has the branches all over the country, so what particular region we have to cover, what sort of, the parameters we have to select, what variables we need to study, this is all to be decided by the researcher, so that we can fix up the boundary of our research and we can find out the right solution to the problem. Analyzing the data appropriate to the problem. The data collection is a big challenge. The researcher who collect the data or get this work done by the others need to understand the data should be collected in the same manner and the desired way which you planned for the study. Because if you have collecting the primary data and the data, you have given this task to someone on behalf of you to collect data, and the data, the other party who has collected the data has not collected the way you desired it. So the complete work will be may not be reliable, or the research may lead in some other direction, and you may not get the desired results and fruitful outcome of your research work. So drawing conclusions and making generalization statements, etc., are at the end of the research. When we out of the data collection, after analyzing, putting them under the appropriate statistical tools, and then finding the outcomes, and then making the general statements, and then specific statements about the problem can be reached out. Dear friends, some of the authors has given the definition of the research. They also call it, one of the author is Redman and Mori. They call it the systemized efforts to gain new knowledge. So this word we have already used earlier also. The research is a systematic process. So here also it has been emphasized by these two authors. Organized scientific investigation to solve the problems. The scientific word also we have already used about the research. So research is a systematic and scientific investigation. There is no doubt in that, to solve the problems or to solve any kind of given situation. Test the hypothesis. Hypothesis is like, here we would say it is an assumption. It is a predictive statement about the problem or about the situation. So developing this hypothesis and then testing the hypothesis at the end of the study, after collecting the data, after analyzing the data, after finding the solution to the problem, then whatever the hypothesis we have developed with the help of our objective of the studies will be the hypothesis testing. So this testing is done at the end of the study, and after that we provide the solution. Developing and invent new products, whatever the solution, the problem is there. Whether you wanted to you wanted to launch a new product in the market, you wanted to test a particular financial services to be launched in the market, or you wanted to check any satisfaction level, whatever the problem may be. So this will be useful. This can be done with the help of the research work. Dear learners, the types of questions and the results which generally can be asked, like what are the outcomes there, what does it look like, how does it work, how well does a method solve a problem, what does something happen if the way it happens. These are all predictive models. What would happen if? These are all the various statements and the questions of research questions we call it, and we formulate the objective with the help of these research questions, and then we formulate the hypothesis for them, and then we design a research design and a methodology in order to conduct the research work. The research design which we talk about is largely, when we say research designs, so three kinds of studies are being conducted all the way, which we call it the exploratory one, descriptive studies, and causal studies. Exploratory research designs are used when we say on this particular problem there were no such other solutions this problem was not dealt earlier, or there is no solutions on the land is not available for that given problem. So this kind of exploratory research, we collect the data or we do the work at first time, and this kind of exploratory research generally we don't hypothesize the problem. Means the hypothesis is not developed for the exploratory research. When we come to the descriptive studies are more formal studies, means a lot of research work has been already done, and we now to test it further, and we within the given circumstances and changed environment, we would like to formulate a new study in the already provided the solution by the various researchers. So the descriptive study, we form a hypothesis here, and then the hypothesis is being done out of the given objectives of the studies, whatever the problem we have. So out of that we find the objective, what is our objective of the problem. So accordingly we develop the hypothesis, and then with the given we collect the data over the period of time, whatever the tools and techniques we adopt for collecting the data. Then with the given statistical techniques, we analyze those data, and then further we test the hypothesis with the given outcome. And then our suggestions and conclusions are drawn out of the studies. And in the causal study, which we talk here, we find the cause and effect relationship. This generally in the studies, statistical tools, which is largely used in the research work, is the correlation techniques and the regression techniques, which are largely used to find out the cause and effect relationship. And here also we develop the hypothesis here, and with the help of the given data, and we analyze this data, and then further calculate the relationship at the given level, and then find out whether this one particular variable is affecting the other or not. If one is affecting, at what level it is affecting, and what is the relationship between the two variables which has been taken for the studies. If it is a multiple regression model, then you will find that the more than two variables are there, and these variables we find with the various techniques in order to find the solution of the problem. We apply here regression techniques, and regression is widely used in the research work under the causal studies. Moving further, the research designs which we talk further, we talk about the sampling design. Sampling, when we talk about, there are 3-4 words which come to our mind: what is universe and what is population. My dear friends, I would like to just say, if I say that just carry out a research in Delhi area about all the colleges which are pursuing the MBA and PhD program, which are authorized or authenticated by the AICT program. So we will call that and we say that there are total 5,000 seats have been granted by the AICT in the Delhi area, and the total universe of your research work would be 5,000 sample size. But when we visit to the various colleges, we find that all the seats granted by the AICT is not got fulfilled. So we find only 4,500 students are there in the programs all over the colleges or institutions or universities. So we will call at that. So our population will be called only 4,500, nor 5,000. So this is what the minor difference between the universe and population. But in our study, in our research work we always refer with the population. Now it could be the finite one, it could be infinite population. That again we have to look into that, whether the population can be estimated or whether the population which is for your study you have taken can be infinite one. Say for example, you would like to check in Delhi that how many people use motorcycle. So how many people use motorcycle, then you can check with the authority and you can find out with that certain number of people, say out of that 10 lakhs people are using motorcycles. So it can be finite population. It can be called as finite population. But if somebody says that you find out in Delhi that how many people just smoke or smoke once time, 2 times, or regular smoker or any occasional smokers, then it is difficult for the researchers to find out, to collect this kind of data. So we can call it that this kind of population can be infinite population. So sample design is a very, established part of the research design. And in the sampling framework, moving further to this research design, when we talk about the sampling frame, so sampling frame talks about unique address of every respondent in the population. When we say that sampling frame is talking about that particular, when I said that our sample is just check that those residents in Delhi, those people in Delhi who use motorcycle, so it will be called that the people using or riding the motorcycle will be our part of our sample. So that is what we are talking. Every respondents in the population which we are targeting will be the sample frame. Sampling unit, when we talk about, this is on the basis of selecting respondents. We talk about the sampling unit, we take that this will be our sampling unit. So we will be focusing on the sampling unit only. We will not go beyond the sample unit, because when we conduct this study, so research work has to be defined and to be for your narrow dying your research work, you have to draw the boundary line. So without drawing the boundary line, you won't be able to provide the solution to your problem. So that becomes a very mandatory and effective one in order to find the right kind of solution to your problem. Then dear learners, we talk about the sampling methods. In the real world, you will find that the sampling methods are to be of 2 types. The one is probability sampling techniques and non-probability sampling techniques. Probability sampling techniques is largely used with the random sampling techniques. Whenever we say that nobody knows in your sample who will be the next respondents, then it is just, we call it the probability sampling techniques. Under the probability sampling, there may be further subcategories of the probability sampling. Same way in the non-probability sampling, then you know that who is going to be your respondents. You may use your own judgment on your convenience way of selecting the respondents. So this is all part of non-probability sampling techniques. Dear learners, I would like to say that regarding these sampling techniques, the many things which when we frame the sample size, we use some formulas etc. in order to take the sample size. Some of the authors says that the sample size should be 5% of your total population. Some of the authors say that it should be 10% of the populations. Dr. Naresh Malhotra says that it should be around 20% of the populations. So it all differ from author to author. So some of the authors says that it should be the 10 times of your statements in the questionnaire in case when you collect the data as a primary data and through the mode of questionnaires. So whatever the statements are given in the questionnaire, just multiplied by 10, that could be the appropriate sample size. Some of the authors which are very non-author in the sampling techniques, they said it should be 5% of the populations. So I would like to say here, it differs from I mean author to author, but the researcher at the end of the day, or it should ensure that it should have adequate sampling in order to provide the the solution to the problem, which can be generalized for the given population. Otherwise, it would be difficult for the researchers to provide the generalized results. So now, moving on further, we come to the data. Data, when we say the data, is a very essential part of any research. If the quality of the data which we collect, you don't find the quality in the data, then the complete outcome may be not up to the mark, or you may land up in the problem, or you generalize the outcomes which may not be desired one, which may not be useful one, which may create problem for the researchers. So the quality of data you should not compromise one. So I will be talking about the quality of data and the data collection techniques in my next lecture, and I will be taking and talking about at length what could be the various sources of data, the methods of data collecting, the types of data, various terms and terminologies used in the data. I will be talking at length with the data. Thank you. Yes, continuing with the same research methodology, we are moving further. Now, the next topic, which is a part of our research and which is very important step of research, is the data. My dear friends, when we talk about the data, so data is a information. That informations may be qualitative one or quantitative one. Quantitative here means which can be put under the numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And quality means maybe the good one, better, best, and all this, which is difficult to quantify this kind of information. So when we talk about the data, data is an information. The information can be collected with the various sources. Nowadays, we talk about the big data. We talk about the metadata. So what is this metadata? Metadata means information for informations. Means this data of the data. So this is what when we say we need to collect the data of the MBA students in the Delhi, and when we further find collect the data of the students about their date of birth, about their hobbies and various aspects of the students, then it will be called as metadata, means information for informations, data for data. What is big data then? Big data, nowadays you might have seen that the data which can be generated through Aadhaar card, which can be generated through Facebook, and this kind of information, when the data runs into crores of, the data which can be called as big data. So nowadays, on the basis of big data, many research studies are being conducted, and that research works are also very useful. In the process of data, many times we talk about the variable. What is variable? This need to understand. Variables means any informations which is subject to change. If any information which is static and permanent and will not subject to change, then it cannot be called as variable. So variable, when we talk about the variables, you need to understand that these informations are subject to change over the period of time. Because in the regression analysis, when we talk about the regression analysis, and when we take that the sales is affected by advertisement, in this case there are two variables. One is the sales, other one is the advertisement. So one will be called as dependent variable, other will be called as independent variable. Here sales will be called as dependent variable and advertisement will be called as independent variable, sales dependent and advertisement independent variable. So how these one variable is affecting the other one? If in this process, if I say all the sales are informations over a period of time is same from beginning to end of your study, whatever the number of observations you have taken for your study are same, then there won't be any kind of conclusions can be drawn out of it. So the point is that there should be a change in the sales data. Say if the data you have taken for a period of 1 year, then there should be variation in the sales over the period of time, then only this research can be done. What is then construct? Construct is a way where you cannot measure it directly. It can be measured indirectly with the help of some latent variables. So when you say that I wanted to check the satisfaction level of the employees in organizations, so this satisfaction becomes the latent variable, or it can be called as a construct. With the help of the other variables, it can be latent variables, it can be checked. So maybe the different variables to check the satisfaction level, it may be the say your very kind of variables like you can say your financial benefits, non-financial benefits could be part of it. So these all variables which are hidden one in order to find out the construct, which we call it the construct. So it could be through the latent or hidden variables. Now moving further, the types of data. The data may be the primary one, data may be the secondary one. The primary data may be collected with the help of the interview method, maybe the observation method, or maybe the case study method. Depending upon the requirement of your study, you can collect the data, whether your study requires the primary data or if the study can be conducted with the help of the secondary data. This all depend upon the researchers and the nature of the problem or the research title. If you collect the data with the help of the questionnaire, then you need to understand that what types of questions or the items it should be part of your questionnaire. My dear learners, the questionnaires can be simply divided into two parts, where you can have some basic informations and then you have the primary informations. The questionnaires where you have the basic informations, like you wanted to know about the income, education level of the respondents, married, unmarried, gender, etc. This will be all your demographics. You wanted to know about the respondents, that could be the one. Then whatever the research you wanted to conduct, that all the informations should be, all the logical or rational questions you should include in your research. Research in the form of questionnaire through which you will collect the data. If your questionnaires, means items shown in the questionnaires, are not relevant one and not logical one in order to extract the information from the respondents, then there is a need to revise your statements or the items in the questionnaire. So while framing the questionnaires, the researcher has to be very, very careful. So you need to focus. The second type of data which can be collected through the primary source of data, it could be focus group discussion. You can approach a particular group which knows about the problem, and then while discussing you can collect the on the hand informations and which can be tested further. Ethnographic research data can be done. It can be like ethnographic research data can be collected on a person, on a live person of his activities regarding anything which you would like to conduct under the ethnographic research that can be done. My dear friend, further talking about the data, you might have heard about the metric data and non-metric data. And this is a very essential condition in order to further decide how the research methodology will be used, what the statistical tools and techniques will be used in your research work. You need to know whether the given data is metric or non-metric. This is very essential. Under metric data, you can include the interval scale data and ratio scale data. Interval scale data means, like you might have seen, that when we collect the data on the Likert scale, 5-point scale, 7-point scales, so all these data can be called as interval scale. And the ratio scale data means where all the data you can, like the price of the stock exchange or any particular stocks, where all the kind of, the multiplication and division, etc. is possible. So this kind of ratio data can be called as ratio data. So metric data in the research domain is widely used, and here you can apply all kind of good statistical tools and techniques, and you can have the better and the scientific results. So metric data is always preferred in order to non-metric data. But in case if the type of the research is such where the data is not metric, then certainly you have to deal with the non-metric data. So non-metric data may be the nominal data and ordinal scale data. Nominal data means where you have the simple, we call it the categorical data also, like when we say the gender, whether it is a male or female, or some other categories. So these all, this kind of data is also called as categorical data, nominal data, or non-metric data. Ordinal scale data is also come under the category of non-metric data. And non-metric data, we have a limited set of statistical tools which can be applied in order to draw the rational conclusions. So that is a restriction on this part, because we have to deal with the special kind of statistical tools. Generally we use chi-square techniques, correlation, etc., and some kind of other techniques which can be handled in the regression analysis also with the logistic regression tables, etc. Cross-sectional, time series, and panel data. These are the very common types of data which we use in the financial studies. And when we say time series data, means the data of a company over the period of time. Means over the period of time for a single company, when we collect the data for over a period of time, maybe for 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 2 years, this all kind of data will be called as time series data. When we say we have collected the data of Nifty for the last 10 years, so only Nifty data for the last 10 years will be called as time series data. Cross-sectional data, when we say the cross-sectional data means the data of more than one company, but over a period of time, means for a given period of time, when we collect the data, we call it the cross-sectional data. When we use both these attributes, means over the period of time and for many companies, then this kind of features is imbibed in the data. Means data is collected for more than one companies and data is collected over the period of time. Then this kind of data we call it the panel data. And this panel data and time series data we generally use in the finance world, financial research are largely focused with the help of these type of data. Further moving on, we have been given with the new users, these kind of examples can be seen here, and how we can, with the help of the given type of data, we can dealt within. I will take some research idea and some research questions, and then I will reply with the help of your, in order to understand the research domain better. The first example is that like job recruitment via internet. How effective is recruiting for new staff via internet in comparison with the traditional method? This can be the one of the research questions which is generated with the help of the research idea. The other ideas may be advertising and share prices. So this could be the idea, how it can be framed in the way of questions, that how does the running of a TV advertising campaign designed to boost the image of the company effect. The other idea may be the future of trade unions. What are the strategies that the trade unions adopt or should adopt to ensure their future viability? So this, any kind of the idea which comes to your mind, that can be framed in the questions format by using the different W family words, what, how, why, and all that. Now, criteria of a good research. There are various criteria which can be used in order to make your research work is a perfect one, is a rational one, is a logical one, and scientific one. The purpose should be clearly defined. Whatever the research idea you had on your mind, after making the lot of review of literatures, your purpose should be clearly defined. You should not have any doubt about what you are going to do it, so that you will not get stuck any time and you will not get confused with the further process of study. So the purpose should be clearly defined. The research process detailed. You should know the research process, how one should deal with the process. When you say the generation of idea starts from your mind, then it goes with the review of literature, then you develop a hypothesis, then you collect the data, then you analyze the data, then with the help of the data, before that, after hypothesis developing, you will draw research designs that will be the part of the research methodology. Accordingly, you will collect the data. Data you will analyze with the given statistical tools or the appropriate statistical tools, and after analyzing the data, you will get the outcomes. Then with the help of the outcomes, you will test the hypothesis. Hypothesis testings will be done at this stage, and after the hypothesis testing, you will draw the conclusions and suggestions. Then your study, and at the end of that, you will compile all your bibliography or references, whatever you call it, so that all the studies material can be related with, the issue of plagiarism can be handled with it, and then your outcome and conclusions and suggestions which are provided through this process will be systematic one, will be scientific one, with the rational one. So moving further, that research design thoroughly planned. The research design is like is the step wherein you will explain all the things, that what is my objective, what is the hypothesis testing, what will be the type of data I will be collecting, whether it is primary or secondary, what will be the tools I will be using in the research work. This all will become part and parcel of your research design. And what statistical tools, what will be your sample size, what will be your geographical area, scope of the studies, everything you will define in your research design, so that your research work will not get hampered at any stage, and it will move in the right directions, and the results would be scientific one and rational one. So research design should be thoroughly planned. High ethical standards applied. High ethical standard applied here in the means that you should not use the data by collected someone or some other information which has been collected by someone. So you should be ethical one while taking your research work. Limitations frankly revealed. Limitations has to be revealed here, because limitation has when you say these are my limitations, it narrow down your research work, or rather say it because of the time constant, resources constants, or your many other constants may be there in practical life when you do the research work. So if you all clearly define your limitations, so it will certainly come down to your sampling techniques and tools and techniques, and will be particularly focusing on your narrow dying topic to your research objective. Moving further, the adequate analysis for decision makers need. Analysis of the data is a very essential technique. You need to understand here which kind of statistical tools you need to use it. Nowadays in the marketing and HR domain, when I generally go through the various research works done by my scholars, and when I visit to the other universities through PhD Viva or analysis of the research work done by the research scholars, I find that it generally nowadays it has been widely used as the SEM, which we call structure equation modeling. It has been widely used, whether the study requires it or not, but the researchers use it very frequently. I don't understand if your type of the research work and the data which you are doing does not require any particular model, then why it is every researcher is using it. So you have to be very, very focused one. You need to understand the type of the data, your objective one, in order to use that what particular statistical tools and technology, the software you need to use in order to provide the good results. So one has to be very careful. So findings presented clearly, whatever the findings you come out with the help of the data analysis and your hypothesis testing, all that should be clearly stated, whether accepted, not accepted, at what given level of significance you have accepted, that you should be clearly focused on that. There should not be any ambiguity in that. Otherwise, the person who is going to use this research may not be understanding the same meaning, the meaning which you understood. Then conclusions justified. Conclusions in the light of the research need to be justified so that your research can be used effectively. Then researchers' experience is a good reflection on the research work. This is what we say when the university teachers, generally after putting for 5 years of work in the teaching, they understand research work better. Those who are, freshers joins the work, they find some difficulty. So research experience is always a goodwill which can be reflected in the research work. Some of the problems which we face in the research are like this: uncontrollable variables. When we talk about the uncontrollable variables, some of the variables which may not be having the direct impact on your studies, but they may be indirectly impacting your research work. So if we are in position to control them or restrict them, we should do it. Otherwise, it may have some impact on the research work and may not be providing you the desired results. So that we need to understand human tendencies. As I said, while collecting the data, you have appointed some work, the third-party work. You have some intention while interacting with the respondents to infer the informations. They have collected the same information in some other manners, and the complete desire, or the rather say, the purpose of your research works may be hampered. The time and money are the constants. Certainly, when we say you wanted to conduct a study in Delhi NCR, the population of the Delhi NCRs may be 2.5 crore, and the people you wanted to use in your sample, the 100% people, the complete populations you wanted to take into study. Is it possible, feasible for you to go to each door to door and each person and collect the information? So that is what we generally go for, a sample study, and the sample which we choose, and then finally we provide the results. We ensure that these results are representative of the population. It is not that they are the only representation of some part of the population, and it does not represent the whole population or the universe. So that we need to understand in mind. That is the reason the time and money can be saved by using the sample techniques. Lack of computerization was there, but now this problem has been handled. Now we have the high frequency and high profile computers, and the softwares which are available in the markets can be used, and the better research work can be done with the short span of time. Insufficient interaction between university research departments and business establishment. This is what is happening. This is a problem that people are not working in groups, and we people are not working in teamwork, and that is what is a small problem is being handled by a person may not be finding that good results if the same problem is being taken by a group of person, and then the research work is done, then you will find it would provide you better results. So that the different departments which are part of the university, they should come together, and whatever the best attributes one department has can be collaborated and can be used in the research, so that the better research works can be done. Lack of confidence on the part of the business units to give informations. In our environment, when we talk about the Indian economic environment, the industry people are not ready to share the informations. Small business are not ready to give the informations about their business techniques and technologies. They think that this is their privacy, and if we divulge and share with them, then it will hamper their business and will lead to somewhere else. So they lack confidence in this regard. So we need to handle that, and we ensure the industry people that whatever the informations we are seeking from you will be kept confidential, and it will be used only for research purpose only. Some kind of role of research management which can be discussed here, but moving further, I think some more slides where we can talk some good work. Field of research work is often used in the different research can be done in any field, whether it is a science one, it can be social sciences, different kind of social sectors, in the different state of the business industry. Any part of the work can be done, any work can be taken in anywhere. While talking about the fields of business research, we generally talk about the market potentials, market size, market segmentations, market characteristics, sales analysis, distribution channels, test marketing, advertise research, impact of advertisement on sales, and so on and so forth. We find consumer buying behavior, we talk about customer satisfactions, all that we do a lot of information system. We talk about, do many research on corporate responsibility. We carry out many research, and this is what research process I have already discussed about, starting from the research defining, review of literature, then formulating a hypothesis, then the research methodology in the where the major part is the research design, collecting the data, analyzing the data, choosing the appropriate techniques of statistical tools and softwares, and then providing the suggestions and conclusion and interpretation of data is equally important. With the passage of time, I would like to conclude my topic, my lecture, and I will in the next say, at the end of the session, I will say that research work, which is now is very important in the academic industry, that without the knowledge of research methodology and without becoming a good researcher, your survival in the industry may be question mark in the time to come. So I will advise you that we start it today, don't wait for tomorrow, be a good researcher. All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much for giving us a very productive session on research methodology. Dear friends, if you have any feedback or queries, do write to us at info.cc@nic.in. We will be meeting again soon. Till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much.